pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I apologize for us running a little bit late tonight. Our mayor will be here shortly. As of right now, I'll take care of it at the start of it. So go ahead, roll call, please.
Let's go. Scott, would you work on this and I'll call? Yeah. Okay, Carl now is absent. Mike Fullerton.
Here.
Jean Reed.
Here.
Kimberly Seven. Here. Marcy White.
Item number 2, discuss possible action on approval of the agenda. I move to approve.
I second.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Seven.
Yes.
Item number 3, citizens' comments. All speakers shall clearly state their name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person with only 1 speaking opportunity. Board members will not respond to any comments or questions. The chair may end the comment period at his discretion. Prior authorization is required for distribution of materials or to approach the board. Is there any comments at this time? It's not on the agenda. Seeing none. Item 4, consent agenda. And is there any items that would like to get removed from the consent agenda? I move to approve the consent.
I second.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Seven.
Yes.
Being there was no items on the consent agenda removed, we'll skip item number 5. We're going to postpone item 6 until Carl gets here and Marcy. Let's move to item 7, discussion and possible action on adjustment of utility accounts. Account number 12-3321-02 at service address 1321 Brooks Drive, Sherry, Wilmer. And if she's not here, I'll make a motion that we move to the next meeting.
Second.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Seven.
Yes.
Item number 7B, account number 05-1823-01 at service address 2640 Northwest 31st Street, James and Kimberly Turner. Are they present tonight? Again, I'll postpone this one to the next available meeting. And Carl's here. We'll just go ahead and finish up our vote. All right, motion. I need a motion.
Motion. Second.
Second to postpone. Second to postpone.
Second the motion?
Yeah.
I got it. Okay. Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton.
Yes.
Carl now. I'll show you a hearing on 620. Should I vote yes?
Yes. You want to take it over, Carl? Did we finish those items?
Let me get my computer real quick.
Okay. Item number 7C, account number 06-1274-01 at service address 1775 North Country Club Road, Michaela Norris. She'll come up and tell us what happened.
I had a leak It was a valve stopper. You can't.
Okay.
There's no receipt for that.
You
And
just-
I just have,
If you'll give your receipts and everything to the city clerk.
Yes.
here's that, and then here is proof of what we usually run every month. Goes back to 5 of this one. And then the last bill, so that's the last bill. It went up from 4 to 7. This is that.
Good ma'am, you'll need to go to the podium and address the council, your name, and address, and explain to council what happened.
Okay, my name is Michaela Norris. I just got home and got a thing in the mail saying that I owed $500 to the water company. I called. They said it looked like it was some kind of leak because it was turning on and off. So, or that it wasn't a leak because it was turning on and off. So I figured out that it was the toilet. The valve on it was leaking constantly. I did get that fixed, and I did call today, and the new bill should be fine. I just need that assessed for the time that it was leaking in the toilet.
So it looks like there were 2 months that the bill would have been remarkably high.
Yes, January and February.
And which one was $500?
That would have been, that bill would have came out in January, so that would have been December's bill, which also could have been faucet drippings as well.
So one was 500, and then you had one
Yes.
after that, which
That was
much more?
1,300.
1,300.
Yeah, which is where I stopped it and was like, okay, that's not just me letting my faucets leak. I've lived in this house for 7 years, and it's never been over $200, so it rose a flag anyways. So when I called her, she asked me to check for leaks and stuff like that, because even when I leave my water dripping, I never have it that much.
Of course. With
So
this
it
amount,
had to have been both at the same time.
what did you find out? What was it?
The piece on the toilet that keeps that seal closed at the bottom was not closed all the way, so it was constantly running, and that's what that was.
Well, I'm not a plumber
Right.
at all, but this is a remarkable amount
Yes.
of water, and
I've also had you guys come look at the meter. I had a plumber come out and tell me that there was no leak because there's no water surrounding the ground. It's not underneath the house, but I do not have that. It was under the books with a friend of ours, so I don't have that receipt or a.
I guess what I'm leading up to, not challenging you, I'm just saying, I'm curious. I'd be curious if that next bill shows that it's.
I did call her today, and the next bill is showing normal water.
Water.
Yeah, and that's what I said as well. I was like, I've got to have some kind of leak or anything. She told me to call a plumber, get that. I did do that. It has to be that because the bill is back to normal as of this month. When it comes out the 24th, my bill is roughly usually around 120, 160, and it's only 180. So that's back to normal, which is what I was trying to get at.
Motion. I would recommend that motion that we balance it, average it out the last prior 6 months. Well, minus the 2 months that it was high
Right.
prior to that.
12 months prior to.
To the high bills.
Okay.
A second, sorry.
Yeah.
What are the months on that you're adjusting?
That would be January and February.
Have a motion second for approval of modification of the utility account for January and February months, the average of the prior 12 months.
So that was December's bill and February's bill. Or January sales.
January.
December and January. It just got billed out on the 11th.
All right. Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Ma'am?
Thank you.
Maybe like number 6.
Number 6, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I left that in there.
All right. Item number 6, discussion of possible action regarding municipal solid waste services.
So there has been a lot of discussion regarding trash service, trash pickup during the week that we had the snow and the ice, primarily the ice on the ground, that caused some issues for Republic Waste, not just here, but also in other cities that they serve. One of the, we were receiving information from Republic Waste after that storm had hit through email, and the last communication that the city received from Republic Waste is that the trash company was going to come out on Thursday, Friday, Saturday of that week to catch up because they had actually missed 2 days. They missed Tuesday and Wednesday's pickup during this time frame. However, like I said, that was the last communication the city received. However, trash did not get picked up that week at all. I did have a conversation with the representative from Republic about it the next week, I believe on Monday morning. And basically I was told that, we didn't have enough drivers. A lot of our trucks wouldn't start due to the bitter cold, which is understandable. The ones that would start, they were having issues with their hydraulic functions on there, which is also understandable. And they had other cities that were having those problems, therefore they didn't have the personnel to cover getting everybody picked up. Of course, there was some unhappy residents with that situation. Bulk trash had not been picked up as well, which was scheduled, I believe, a week before that. So then bulk trash pickup actually got pushed back about 3 weeks before it was actually picked up. I do have a meeting with that same liaison tomorrow at City Hall to discuss these issues. We did have some residents that were voicing their desires to have a refund or credit to their accounts. Well, Republic Waste does not credit accounts and did not credit accounts for that particular situation, simply because they're still charged the same amount of money from the dump because they're picking up 2 weeks worth of trash in 1 week versus 1 each week. So they get charged the same amount, therefore they charge the city the same amount that we have a contract on and with them. Of course, the city is not crediting anybody's account because we have to pay Republic Waste. Republic Waste called this an act of God, uncontrollable. Nothing that can be done about that. That's all fine. I get that. However, we've had issues with trash service for quite some time now, off and on. Not, well, at least for some residents, every single week there is some sort of complaint that comes into the water department or the city hall or wherever it may be that somebody did not get their trash picked up. It was missed. I don't know what all their issues are, but our residents are paying for a weekly service for trash pickup. Whether I understand, but there are some citizens here, and quite a few of them that are dealing with this missed service every week. Basically, I guess what I am looking for is direction from council on how do you want me to approach this in discussing this tomorrow, or do you have a preference on how to approach it? I have looked at their contract. It expires basically in 27. It was a 5-year agreement. Actually, let me back up. Actually, it renews every single year at this point. So it will renew again in October of this year. Can be canceled at any time with a 90-day written notice. I'm not saying that that's what we should do by any means. I do believe once we get to a point of expiration or getting close to expiration, I do believe it's in the city's best interest to solicit proposals from other services as a comparison. Comparison in cost, of course, and a comparison in service. Because our water department ladies over there, they are inundated with phone calls constantly with this. These phone calls are supposed to go to our phone tree when they call in, and then when they push 1 or 2 or whatever it is for trash, it sends them to Republic. Well, when it sends them to Republic, most of the time, from what I can tell in discussions with the water, they don't get any answer. So then they call back to the water department, and it's usually our ladies that are having to take care of this, or at least have that discussion, and then they have to call Republic. And it's a vicious cycle constantly, keeping them busy over there with things that they really shouldn't be the two that have to deal with it. So that's, I mean, my recommendation and what I would like to discuss with Republic tomorrow is, you know, there's been issues. There's been a lot of issues over a lot of time here. It hasn't been just a month or two. And maybe put them on notice that this is kind of a probationary period here. You know, this is March. Maybe we give them and let them know that we're going to be watching this very closely up until, you know, late August, early September, before that contract actually expires or before it renews automatically, and determine then whether or not we solicit proposals and give them an opportunity to improve service. We've had meetings with them in the past, Jeanette and I have, because of issues like this, and I'm not trying, Republic's been good to us. I'm not trying to bash them or anything of that nature, but every time we've had this meeting, it gets better. Service gets better for a while, and then it reverts right back to what was going on before. So that's kind of the approach that I think would be beneficial for the city, but also gives a little bit of grace as well for Republic.
You want our input?
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
I'll prime the pump, and here's what you can share with them if you like, that there's at least one city council member who has praised them and supported them for at least 2 contract renewals. One contract renewal, I didn't even want to hear any other proposals because I was putting my faith in them that they would continue to give us good service. But I passed along to them once through the city staff that when they respond back to our customer, to our residents, their customers, they're not keeping their commitment. And that burns me more than anything. Most customers understand when things go wrong is your recovery. What happens after that? Mm-hmm. This was an act of nature. That I get it. And I told neighbors around me, and I told everyone who asked me, it wasn't just us. Every city couldn't get their trash picked up. So this company is trying to get caught up. I've kind of defended them. But then it occurs to me, they weren't out here those Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. They were somewhere Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. They were doing so much. Someone else probably insisted or yelled louder. Mm-hmm. Or I mean, I'm not saying you didn't yell loud enough. I'm saying they answered Sunbelt, right? But they didn't answer us. And that, so I'm not in the camp of just ready to support them. I don't know what the other level of service of their competitors would be, but they've broken commitments, and I experienced it firsthand, how they treated me one time when my trash can was broken and came out. The gentleman just was so very poor representative of a contractor like that. So I think they've got a lot to show us, and I would put a lot of thought before I renew with Republic at this point.
And they, like Gene said, they made commitments to individuals that didn't reach out to them that, oh, we'll get you Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're running behind, and they didn't. And I don't really buy the whole, they don't refund because they get charged for dumping the trash. But we're paying for a service. The landfill charge is a small part of the expense of picking up our waste. And so they saved quite a bit of money by not having to drive around through Newcastle those days while they were probably maybe potentially picking somebody else's up. And so, we've been a very good customer of theirs. We've been a long time customer of theirs. And it just seems like you said, when we have to push, and the only time we can get a response to what we consider bad service is if we do demand meetings and actually bring it up. There seems to be a lack of commitment on an ongoing basis to provide good service without some type of, I don't want to say conflict, without some type of action on the city council or the city staff's part. So, I agree with what you're saying. I don't want to sound too punitive by saying, oh, we're going to, put you on a trial period, or probationary period, but, something needs to change. In talking with citizens, this isn't just an isolated occurrence where they didn't pick up trash because it was a weather event. There's a significant issue throughout the community, and I know their drivers switch and it takes getting used to routes. But there's also a process by which they get the drivers up to speed, and they're not doing it at an acceptable level in the city of Newcastle. So something needs to change, and whatever it takes to get that change, we need to move forward, and potentially it will eventually be with a different provider. That may be more expensive, but there's something to be said that you may have to pay a little bit more, but at least you're getting the service. So anyway, those are my thoughts.
Does the contract, so each year renewal, you can choose to walk away from the contract, end the contract? It's not at the 27?
Correct.
27?
Yeah, there was an addendum to the contract that was made in 22, but it clearly states in that addendum and in the main contract that after that 5-year period, after that first 5-year period, each year's addendum can be automatically renewed or it can be stopped.
Okay.
So, I would think that if the city was going to say, we're going to solicit proposals, we would probably need to get them a letter, would be September, October, July. So in the 1st of July, let them know, yes, we're going to solicit proposals, because that's 90 days from the end of that 1-year renewal.
Is there a cancellation fee?
I did not see anything in the contract about that.
If you decide to get out of it earlier?
Well, it doesn't state that in there, but I think no fees are stated, but it's kind of implied that there's some sort of trigger to maybe for fees or something, because if it's not within that 90 days, or maybe the contract discontinues, I don't know.
I was kind of thinking, I'm sure we've all done no matter what, that when we go out to bid or when we negotiate with whoever, that we have them write out a specific plan of what's your plan of action and implement whether, and we want to know exactly the steps you're going to take to make it work. Are you going to contract another vendor to assist with you, and how many days we can get back online? With internet, when I deal with internet, that's what they do. They have a contingency plan. If it goes down, This is what we do, this is how we do it, and this is how fast we'll get back online. I was at the 911 meeting the other day. They called and asked around other cities, and they were back up and running. They were only down a day or two at most after the ice. That was it. And they had different providers and weren't down hardly at all. But maybe it's because we haven't asked, Maybe we need to hold them to what's your contingency plan if there's tornadoes or if there's ice. Tell us what you're going to do and how you're going to handle it. Because using the same people and the same number of people on the same route, it's gonna take the same amount of time. So if we lose 3 days, we're never gonna make up, it's gonna take a lot
Right.
longer to make up those 3 days. So what's your plan? How are you gonna do that? Because if we're still paying you the full amount, then you need to do something to get it back.
Well, and not just only, I think, not just only for weather-related events, but also for shortage of drivers, trucks that are broke down, whatever. Now, I mean, that's their operations side of it, and I understand we don't control operations, but we expect a service every week. All of our residents do.
Sure.
So,
Sure, and I don't think it's out of line. That's any line of business where you have a service like that. They've got to have contingency plans, and maybe they do, I don't know, but I don't feel like they probably, if they do, they follow through with it.
yeah.
Because there's still people that haven't, I don't know now today, but last week there were people that hadn't had trash picked up in over 2 weeks. And then they left the bags sitting out when they clearly told us they were going to be picking them up.
They did. They did.
Yeah, it was unfortunate that the big trash happened at the same time. I'll give them that. That was very unfortunate. But again, that's where contingency plans, they come in,
And that's a different truck, if I remember correctly, than the big truck.
It is.
Well, it just exacerbated the look of it all for everybody is what I mean by that. So, yeah.
My thought is that they knew they were running behind, they need to pick up their pace, or work extra days, make up for it, and they didn't. And I'm disappointed in that.
I might have missed it, but did they work on the weekends when that happened?
They did not.
No.
At least not here.
Not here, anyways.
Yeah, not here.
They picked up my trash on Saturday.
Oh, did they?
Oh, did they? Okay, so then mine has
I
been
got some
out.
of them.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I expressed to Kevin that my neighbors across the street had their bulk trash out there for way too long,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't, it was like, what was it, about a week or two after?
Yeah.
It was a while. Our neighborhood was too, yeah.
Some of the trash they didn't have to take to the dump because it's over in Blanchard and Tuttle right now.
Right.
Because some of our neighbors, some of our additions had trash blowing everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, they did.
And I will say, my daughter lives in the position, and she did reach out to them the week after the snow event and inquired about getting the trash picked up, and she did get a call back after it was picked up by Republic to see if it had been picked up.
Really?
I do appreciate that. However, she still didn't get her trash picked up for that week. So. Any public comment concerning this agenda item? Okay. I guess the only action on this, Kevin, kind of like you can take the comments that council has made and see what happens in the meeting, and we'll wait for the report back.
Sounds good.
Hopefully we can get some resolution. Like I said, they've been long time providers here, and we just want trash picked up timely and consistently, and we can get that done. I think everybody will be happy.
Would it be too much to ask at this point to put just a little bit of teeth in this to ask them for a contingency plan, should this ever arise again?
Sure wouldn't hurt.
They probably would be happy to, they probably know they're on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great. All right. Item number 8, discussion of possible action on approval of grant of pipeline easement and agreements contained therein from Newcastle Public Works Authority to Eckerd Operating LLC, part of Lot 8, Lot 3, and part of the South and Northeast quarter of Section 22, 9 North, 4 West, McLean County, Oklahoma.
This easement was actually approved
Back in December, I think.
back in December,
Maybe January.
and the document just had never been provided. So now it has been provided, it's ready to go, and just need approval.
This is just south of the fire station up there, but they're just bringing that in. So. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for agenda item 8.
A second.
Motion second for approval of item number 8.
Mike Miller,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 9, discussion of possible action regarding approval of real estate purchase contract with DRM 527 LLC for the purchase of 14 acres more or less in the vicinity of State Highway 9 and US 62, Newcastle, Oklahoma.
This is the purchase of the land At 62 and 9, like the mayor said, it is for the MBR plant that the city of Newcastle hopes to have constructed down there for sewer along Highway 9 and as well for the Chickasaw Nation Medical Facility. This would serve that as well. We've been working with the landowners there now for, I don't know, better part of 3 or 4 months, maybe 5 or so. But anyway, we did finally come to an agreement. We had started out originally with only needing 5 acres is what we thought we were going to need. And as it turns out, with the potential expansion of that plant well into the future at full capacity, where right now we're trying to obtain a discharge permit of 10 to 12 NGD. If we do obtain that, of course, 5 acres is not going to handle the size of the facility that will have to be constructed there, the expansion of that facility. So our engineer looked at that. He determined, about 14 acres is what it would take. Actually got it all laid out, all of the equipment. He got that from Kubota and what that would look like. They actually placed it on their mapping and engineering fancy stuff they have. Anyway, laid it all out real nice and got it to where it would fit on 14 acres. We went back to the landowners. I think maybe had a couple of different discussions with the landowners. They agreed. They finally came back and agreed that they would go ahead and sell us the 14 acres for the original 100,000 rather than increasing the cost.
It's like a pretty good amount per acre.
It turned out a lot
favorable. I mean,
yeah, it was roughly 20,000 an acre beginning, which they shot us back an initial price of 280 for the 14 acres, and through some discussions, we were able to get them back down to 7,142 an acre.
so you're having trouble with Republic?
Well, I haven't met with them yet, sir.
Somebody's on you, Kevin.
And there's some other things. Part of the reason some of the things that got into this original 5 acres wasn't brought out to us originally, but there's got to be a 100-foot setback from any of the equipment in the waste treatment facility. That was going to really narrow up our usable land we have on the 5 acre tract. So that's one of the reasons why we originally went back to them. But also this is very beneficial to the landowners there. Part of the deal that we're providing is we're guaranteeing them that they have access to 10% of the capacity, whatever the initial phase of construction is. So by locating it there, which works best for us, but also works extremely best for them, it gives them the ability to develop at least a portion of their property with more dense development. So it's a win-win for everybody involved. But it also has a provision that if they want to have any more capacity than that, it's at their cost or some other type of agreement with the city. So it's really a good deal all around. And so it's located in a facility or in a location that will gravity a lot of the area around there. So great.
As well as the impact fees and are not waived.
Yeah, they still pay impact fees for every hookup too, so it's not like we're giving the capacity, we're just guaranteeing that much capacity will be available and for their use, should they desire.
They'll have a reciprocal need.
So are we talking about this first 10%? Are we talking about 500,000 gallons per day? Are we talking 1 million gallons per day?
Probably, originally it was going to be 350 and then we thought 500, but with the long-term needs of the nation, we're probably looking at a 1 million gallon per day initial phase. And so that's kind of how our engineers got it drawn out. We talked originally about potential of doing modular units that came in that were packaged units at a 350,000 gallon package unit. That package unit contains everything. It contains all of the pumps and everything needed to completely and totally treat that waste, with the exception of the storage capacity coming in. When we move to start stacking those to get to that long-term anticipated need of potentially 12 million, how many pumps did he say? We're in each,
Well, total, we said there would need to be 90 pumps.
yeah, so if we did that with package units, each of those has the pump, so we'd be looking at potentially 90 total pumps when it was all said and done. By moving to the 1 million GCW size, we're looking at doing concrete within the equipment contained within the concrete structures we build, and then we don't have just all the pumps for each particular unit. So really long-term will benefit us with lower maintenance costs, lower pump replacement issues with those type of things. A little bit bigger bite to begin with, but with the anticipated need of the health facility, we're better off going with this larger initial phase. So it's, Kevin and I know way more about sewer than we ever hoped to. No.
Well,
You're the
let's
expert.
start with the good price for the land, so that's
Yes.
good.
Yes, and I would recommend too that, I mean, this is a purchase that should be made straight out of fund balance. And don't worry about any kind of financing or anything of that nature. It's too low of an amount.
Public comment concerning this agenda item? All right, now I will
Motion to approve item 9.
Second.
have a motion to second to approve item number 9 with the funds coming out of fund balance for the purchase.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 10, discussion and possible action on approval of real estate purchase agreement for the Northwest quarter of section 13, 9 North, 4 West, Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma, concerning tools, tractors, trucks, and equipment on site from People's Bank and Trust Company. Property address, 1880 Northeast 16th Street, Newcastle, Oklahoma.
The property over there on 16th Street, appraised at $600,000. The trucks, all of the trucks appraised at $429,989. That was for 5 trucks. And of course, the roll-off dumpsters, they were not included in any appraisal. The initial asking price for all of this was $1.25 million. So the had conversations with with People's Bank and told him what the appraisals were, and I said the city is not going to pay above appraisal on the property and the trucks. And he said, well, People's Bank would finance, they could finance the containers and whatever else for us and just pay them back when we sold them. He said, or I can have somebody, I can get you a buyer. So I said, well, if you can get a buyer, then keep them yourself and sell them. Why would we want to finance them? He said, well, okay, exactly. That's what we'll do. So he found a buyer for all the containers and the 2 small trucks. We're now buying the property and the 3 semis. I tried to get him to keep the semis, but he wouldn't do it. So the 3 semis, for a cost of I believe it's $990,384 or $394. Just over $990,000 for the property and the trucks, what they appraised for. I think we can sell the trucks, put them on surplus and sell those trucks. That 2 of the semis appraised at $162,500, the other one appraised for $64,950, I believe. I think we can probably get those sold pretty quick and pay that amount off. So I mean, I think it's going to be a huge benefit for the street department, as we've talked about. If council chooses to approve this tonight, then we'll immediately get started on soliciting proposals for financing it. And hopefully we can give no more than a 7 to 10 day request for financing and get this thing rolling. We'll finish it up.
This is 10 acres. What was that?
10 acres.
Right alongside our 10 acres.
Yes.
Any public comment concerning this agenda item?
I'll make a motion to approve agenda item 10.
Second.
When you say the now, or is it the
And put in that stated by city
not
manager.
stated by city manager?
Second.
$990,450.
Stated by our attorney.
City attorney, yeah. All right, I have a motion second for approval of item number 10 for $990,450.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Now, did we need to have in there listed to anything, or did we just worry about that later?
Well, you'd actually approved it at the last.
Okay.
But yeah,
Very good, we're good.
we'll just go ahead and get it started.
All right. Item number 11, monthly treasurer's report.
Now, can we afford to do any of this?
Don't ask her those questions. You should figure out how to make it happen.
My blood pressure's fine.
February is the 8th month in the fiscal year, so the execution rate we're looking for is 66.7%. Overall, the revenues for general fund are sitting at 67.8%, while the expenses are at 65%. So both of those are within our expected budget amount. Revenues for our capital improvement tax funds are 67%, and expenses are still kind of low, or real low at 22.6%. I'm sure we'll be spending some of that here shortly as the projects start running up. Revenues for NPWA finished the month of February at 67.3%. Expenses were at 64.4%. So the revenues are within budget amount, and expenses are just very slightly lower. The fire department tax fund has brought us over $914,000. We have spent $1.5 million. So that tax fund has covered around 60.9% of what we have had to spend on the fire department, excluding the fire station, of course. Our meter fund, we still haven't been able to wrap that up quite yet. They're still working on the meters that aren't working, I guess, Kevin?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So we're sitting at 6 draws for that one at $2.6 million. Our wastewater treatment plant, we have paid 18 of those draws, and the current total for that project is over $37,000.
37,000?
37 million. Sorry, I wish it was 37,000. 37 million. Sales and use tax came in at 911,000. 682 of that was sales, and 229 was use. So while sales was a little disappointing, use kind of picked up the slack there. We end that month at 0.3% ahead of our expected budget amount. February 2025 was 5.3% lower than what was received in 24. The total receipts at this point last year were also 1.7% higher. Our current indebtedness is now sitting at over $53 million, again including our 2 construction loans with the OWRD. I wanted to let you know that the quarterly CDs paid out, the ones that FN, First National Bank and Trust, I think it was 87,000. So that was a nice little bump there. Rundown of our city fund balances. General fund is $2.6 million. Capital improvement tax fund is $2.7 million. Economic development tax fund is sitting at $37,000. Cemetery fund is $46,000. Parks capital improvement is $196,000. Admin and technology is $214,000. Grant cost share fund is $2.6 million. Transportation impact fee fund is $114,000. City hall fund is sitting at $58,000. And our OAG OA fund is $80,518.
And what fund is that?
That is the opioid.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm assuming y'all are going to figure out what to do with that money at some point. NPWA, the Public Works Fund, is sitting at $2.5 million. Water Impact Fee Fund is $646,000. Wastewater Impact Fee is $968,000. Wastewater Plant Fund is almost $7 million, and our meter fund is sitting at $207,000. Are there any questions for February?
Thank you, Jeannie.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Item number 12, general manager's comment.
Just a couple of things. We are trying to get that water line installed on Southwest 24th, from Twisted Oak or Oak Hollow down to Ross Drive. This was all discussed 6 to 8 months ago with Chickasaw Crossing. That's a piece of ours that needs to get done. We have the material. Everything has been, everything has been surveyed, but we are having a little bit of trouble getting a couple of easements from property owners over there. one of those property owners that has requested compensation for that easement. It's a 17.5-foot wide easement, but I believe 180 feet long, I believe is what I was told. Excuse me. Don't expect a lot of cost for that one at all, but we're going to try to get that done. I've made it clear that I would like to try to see us get that line installed before the end of this budget year, get it done and off the books. The water meter project that Jeannie spoke of, excuse me, Wall Engineering is dealing with the company that did the meters for us, having conversations with them, some not so pleasant conversations because this has become a problem. We're getting very close on this project to enforcing some things that they will not want enforced. So I did see an email come across today that hopefully they are supposed to get out here this week and try to get things wrapped up and settled. But we still have those meters that are out there that are still not working, the brand new meters. So I'll keep council informed as to when that finally wraps up and everybody's meter is working like it should. On the meters that's been installed, that's not reading electronically. Of course, we're still having to go out there and read them manually.
How many meters are we talking?
500, yeah, was the last I heard. Now, it started out here back in October, actually, that there was only about 12 meters that we were having issues with, and the company said, well, it has to do with the cell signal on those meters. Well, then it just kept growing, and the last I heard from the water department, we were up to 500 meters. Well, if those meters were working previously, then what happened? Mm-hmm. So, anyway, Wall Engineering, you can't ask for a better engineering company for the city's benefit. They just do a fantastic job for us, and they're staying on top of it. They have one individual that's assigned to this, and I get at least 2 or 3 emails a week of where he is communicating with them.
Kevin, what's the impact on our customers, on our residents? Is it the biggest impact is on our having to go out to read them, right?
Correct.
The billing and everything is
Still staying the
same. Okay.
Yeah.
So do we hear from our residents
No.
quickly on that, or?
I haven't heard.
Okay.
I haven't heard no complaints from the water department that citizens have called in or.
Okay, just the hours we have to invest in making.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem is for us, and could be for the citizens as well, but much more for the city, is when those things read, it automatically sends numbers to the water department. We don't have to, in the past with all the old meters, our water guys still had to go out and drive around and pick them up. This sends it to the office. Right. So with those 500 meters missing, we're not getting those numbers straight to the office, and it slows down. Yeah.
And weren't we with this supposed to be able to have live data from those water meters?
That's correct, and that's the piece for citizens.
You know, so they can't go online and see what their water usage the day has been because we don't have that connectivity.
Correct.
And that was a big selling point for this whole meter replacement. So
it's my understanding the ones that are reading too, sir. Didn't you look at yours or say? Yeah. So the ones that are reading, people are able to get on there and see their water usage immediately. So, but we're working on it. We're working to get it resolved.
is that it? Yep. All right. Item number 13, trustees' comments. No? All right. Item number 14 is adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion is second for adjournment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. This time I'll call the March 5th, 2025 meeting of Newcastle City Council to order. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Ronell,
Here.
Mike Fullerton.
Here.
Gene Reed.
Here.
Kimberly Sutton. Here. Mercy White. Here.
Item number 2, discussion and possible action on approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion and second for approval of the agenda.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 3, citizen comments. This is an opportunity for any citizen to comment on any matter related to the city of Newcastle that is not on the agenda. Might remind any potential speakers that all speakers are clearly state their name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person with only one speaking opportunity. Council members will not respond to comments or questions. The mayor may end comment period at his discretion, and prior authorization is required to distribute materials or to approach the council. This time is a public comment concerning the city of Newcastle. All right, seeing none, we'll move to item number 4, consent agenda. Is there any member of council that would ask that any item be removed from the consent agenda and addressed individually? All right, seeing none, item number 4, consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second,
Motion second for approval of the consent agenda.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 5, discussion and possible action on any items removed from the consent agenda. No action on that agenda item. Item number 6, discussion and possible action on recommendations of the Planning Commission. Item number 6A, public hearing, discussion and possible action on Planning Commission recommendation for approval application for rezoning from CC2 Community Commercial District to PUD Planned Unit Development, Town Center Plaza for Newcastle Public Works Authority, located in the northwest quarter of Section 23, Township 9 North, Range 4 West, Indian Meridian, Plain County, Oklahoma, and adoption of ordinance number 990, property address 250 South Main Street, Newcastle, Oklahoma, case number R 2024-012.
Good evening, council members. Janae Greenlee with the Newcastle Planning Department. This is a rezoning from CC2, Community Commercial District, to PUD Planned Unit Development for Town Center Plaza. This is located at 250 South Main Street. It's the southeast corner of Highway 62, East Fox Lane, for approximately 9.6 acres. As you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, that's the surrounding land uses. That just is an aerial of the what's currently on the ground. We have Fox Hollow development to the east. We have businesses to the north, residential and businesses to the west, and to the south, businesses as well. The center screen is the current zoning. As you can see, to the north and to the east and to the south, the frontage on Highway 62 is all currently CC2. And then on the far right is the land use. The 2040 comprehensive plan and land use map designates this as general commercial. So this is in line with the current request. So just a little bit of background. As you know, City Council is proactive on purchasing this land back in February of 24. Since then, we contracted with FSD Engineering Services to develop a PUD and preliminary plat for this site for economic development to generate sales tax and provide goods and services in this location of town. Basically, the PUD does a couple things. It provides design guidelines for architectural design, landscaping, cross-access parking, and then reduces building setbacks. It also really takes into consideration about the neighborhood and surrounding uses, residential uses to the east. So it has a little bit more stringent lighting requirements and signage requirements. And so really to be a cohesive, kind of beautiful development for the city of Newcastle. So the PUD outlines basically what the uses are, which are all retail, restaurant, quick service restaurants, and grocery store. The other thing that this PUD does is it gives a little bit of flexibility to staff to say, okay, if this is a retail establishment that's similar to those allowed uses and it's not specific in the PUD, that allows staff to say, yes, perhaps a certain type of retail establishment wanted to locate there and it doesn't call out a CVS, but that's retail. So we make those judgments, and we do that all the time in our underlying zoning, the CC2 district. The other thing that this, the plat does is, the PUD does is makes the city of Newcastle the developer. And with that, we will be the ones that are looking at those lots that are going to potentially be for sale to different retail establishments. So this is just a general kind of site plan, master development site plan for this development. It's going to have 6 lots. It's going to be cross-access and cross-access parking throughout the development. There'll be 2 access points on Main Street and 1 off of Southeast 3rd. Planning Commission, they had a couple recommendations regarding the PUD. They had made a statement requiring approval contingent on removing bullet 3 in section 9, which gives a little bit of administrative, like I just spoke about, the administrative adjustment for staff to make if a use comes in. And there was one portion in the design guidelines that calls the city of Newcastle the landlord instead of developer, and they would like to see that changed to developer. But with that being said, it did get approved, recommended for approval with a vote of 5-0. We did not have any protest regarding this, no public comment regarding this, and staff makes recommendation for approval. Our engineer is here with a brief presentation as well to follow. I'm happy to answer any questions right now, or we can wait till after his presentation. That's your decision.
We'll enjoy the presentation.
Okay. All right. Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, thank you, Council. My name is Sean McGraw with FSB, Civil Engineering Consultant for the applicant. So we'll go ahead and give you guys the same presentation that we gave the Planning Commission, and then we can go from there. It's a presentation that kind of encompasses both agenda items, both the rezoning piece and the preliminary plat. Most of the things regarding the preliminary plat have kind of been saved to the end, so if we want to separate out that conversation. Okay, just really touch on brief. I think Ms. Greenlee spoke about the adjacent uses. This is really the Alpha survey of the property. I think everyone's probably pretty familiar with it. So really just looking at our utility access for the property, which we can discuss a little bit further. Okay, so specific to the PUD, just a little bit of the overview of it. She mentioned a few things that we've recommended in the PUD. It really does not vary too far from the overlying CC2 zoning. Some things that we've kind of shown here in this presentation are some of the things that are different that of note that I wanted to present to the Planning Commission and yourself. Staying with the same building heights, not to exceed 45 foot. We mentioned the setbacks. 15 foot on all yards is what we have right here on our master plan. Minimum lot sizes of 15,000 square foot with a maximum of 75,000. Parking is something that we really wanted to address when looking at this property, figuring out ways to share parking in between businesses, really maximize the use. The property itself is a little over 9 acres, but what we're dealing with, and you take out the floodplain, the stormwater detention areas that we have, we're really dealing with about 7 acres of buildable space. And so we're trying to figure out ways to maximize use, drive sales tax revenue with those. And so in kind of highlighting the retail, the grocery, the eating establishments, we've come up with these square footage calculations for the required parking. Apologize, I was going the wrong way. Ms. Greenlee mentioned as a part of the PUD, we've developed architectural design guidelines. Kind of walk through some of the highlights of those. The purpose behind it is to really give the architect, the engineer of any of the future tenants of these lots an understanding of kind of what's expected. It's very easy for them to come in and design something when they have clear expectations as opposed to them really kind of just doing everything from the ground up. And so trying to make a cohesive kind of master plan community. So you can see kind of some of the things we've done with that, with the landscape, the sidewalks, the crosswalks, more site development standards on the sheet. We carry that on to having standards for enclosed trash dumpsters, and then the monument signage, which will be shared for the property as well. And then lastly, just the architectural elevation, which is just a visual depiction of what some of the narrative in the ADG says about having varying building heights, trying to do a character throughout the architecture, so that it's not so cookie cutter and has some town plaza type feel to it, which you guys are looking. Then we were asked to put together a vehicle circulation plan. This did a couple things. Really looked at some of the main access points. We talked about 2 points of access along Main Street. Right now we show those as 3-lane. We are starting at that right now at this preliminary plat stage, and we're going to kind of work that back based on some of the traffic modeling and understand where do we do left turn lanes out of there, where do we not. Really being sensitive to traffic concern. But we know that kind of statutorily working with ODOT, this is what would be allowed. And so we want to start with this proposal and kind of work over that. There is also a 2-lane portion that's an access to 3rd Street, which is really more for secondary circulation, emergency access, things like that. And then we also have identified shared locations for dumpsters. So that not every parcel gets their own dumpster. We're kind of consolidating a few in certain areas to better use the space. And then it all culminates together in this rendering of kind of what the architectural design lines are going to hopefully culminate. You can kind of see some things maybe I haven't touched on in terms of the landscaping, the crosswalks, and some of the shared drive aisles, things of that nature. But really geared toward high design, retail, eating establishment, grocery, things of that nature.
We'll have to change to that corner. It looks very good. It looks nice. Mm-hmm. Very nice.
That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to thank Sean and the group with FSB. They've done a great job in getting us to this point. They've provided some stuff. We provided feedback. It's been back and forth, and I think we've ended up with something that's going to be a significant addition to the city of Newcastle.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like to change the look of that piece of land. And hopefully set the tone for development along the southern quadrant of our main part of town. So, any questions for Sean about what this is?
On the previous picture you just showed, how much distance is that from the highway to that entryway right there to the first row of trees? Is that like 40 or 50 feet, or I mean, how far back? Yeah.
So off of Main?
Yeah, Main Street would be down here at the bottom of this picture, right?
Yes, sir.
And so I'm just kind of curious how far is that set back?
It's approximately 60 foot. So that sidewalk backs up to within 1 foot of the actual property line. And there is a fairly large ODOT right-of-way through there. So you have about 60 foot from that sidewalk where those pedestrians are crossing that crosswalk right there to the actual curve of the road. So that's going to allow, a nice storage of vehicles that are making that right turn out of there. Actually.
I'm liking that. I pictured it would be real close to the highway, and this looks so nice. Mm-hmm. Very good.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Council.
it. All right, any questions for Janae for public comment?
Well, is this the rezoning number or is this the plat number?
This is the rezoning.
This is the
Okay, I'll ask one on the next one. It's no big deal. I'll ask one on the next one.
So it was brought up at planning commission that on Third Street to possibly, the city street, to possibly widen that street, to prevent backup on Highway 62.
The Third Street has limited no access on the south side at the present time, so we'll have to work with the city or with Fox Hollow Homeowners Association to remove that and to have access across a strip that's not of the roadway that's, part of their common area. But where we're turning across north for cars coming in on Third Street, turning north, so that they don't block the entry traffic going into Fox Hollow on the main entrance exit to Fox Hollow. We didn't, it's not a requirement, but we did ask that we let you know and that you consider widening Third Street there and putting in a turn lane so that the people coming in can go ahead and get past and go on into Fox Hollow. Just because I think that because of traffic and backup on Main Street, that may be an entrance that will be desired by quite a few. And then on the PUD, on the discretionary bullet that we asked be removed, the logic on that was we don't want to establish a principle in our PUDs that a developer would reserve the right to change it without coming back in and telling us about it. In this case, we also discussed it lists retail as a purpose, and when you really got down to it, the purposes are stated there. I don't think there's anything going to go in there that wouldn't already fit under that with just the interpretation that Janae was talking about. The staff determines what's retail, but that covers pretty well everything that would be going in there. And those were just the points that we wanted.
And maybe my question does fit then, based on what Gordon is saying. So, you don't know until you see it, and I don't do this normally. So my imagination, it's way nicer and better than my imagination. So I guess my question is, it looks like there's more of a bigger anchor type building in the back that would be for larger bins. Like, what size are we talking about? Because my mind wants to say, well, if it's a grocery store, then maybe we do need a turn lane over there. Like, I'm trying to think how much traffic, now that I'm actually seeing it, how much traffic are we going to have coming in these entrances? So I was trying to get an idea of the scale of what size of business might come in to that biggest one in the back, just to wrap my head around what the traffic will.
It does allow for a grocery store, and that lot is the bigger lot.
Like it could be a Walmart market or an Aldi or something, not like
anything
a super center, but a.
Correct. Yes, smaller.
But, you do have to realize too, there'll be two other entrances directly off Highway 62 at the end of the development. So I don't think that the road going into that addition is going to be a primary entrance, with those other two that are much more convenient to enter off of the highway to get into. And that's the way the development is set up, is for those two primary entrances. So I don't know that it would justify
I was just trying to get a
widening the street there.
scope in my mind.
Yeah.
Especially not the short term, and it's something maybe we could look at in the future if it was something that was
Exactly.
deemed
That's
necessary.
exactly what I was going to say.
And that's all we were requesting. We just wanted to throw it out that was a possibility, and I think Carl's right. The main entrances are going to be off Main Street. It's just some people will pick up and think they want to slip around some of the traffic that way, and if they do, for convenience, just so you know in the future, you may need to do that or consider it.
All right. Any other questions from council?
Trying to imagine how many businesses that could potentially be. It's quite a bit.
Well, it's laid out right now for 6, including the large back tenant.
I know the guys at the coffee shop would be saying, how could you fit that many pumps in front of that being a Buc-ee's?
I don't think we've quite got enough Buc-ee's space there.
Not here.
I'm afraid we're going to have to admit it. It's not going to be a Buc-ee's.
We got lots of other places for Buc-ee's though.
We do. That's what I was gonna say. We have other ideas.
Very nice.
It is. I did not imagine. My imagination was not generous enough for this. It's great.
It looks customer friendly too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, if there's no more questions, then
Just one. Did we run truck routes through this to see if the fire trucks and the semis that going to be delivering?
Yeah, that was with that circulation plan for trash truck, and then the aisle width to meet the requirements in the radius as well.
That's the only question I had.
any public comment concerning this agenda item?
Yeah.
All right. If not, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve agenda item 6A.
Second.
As written, yes.
As written.
Yes.
Sorry. Second.
Motion second for approval item number 6A as written.
And adoption of the ordinance.
And adoption of well, that's part of it. Put it in the item.
Okay. Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 6B, discussion and possible action on adoption of emergency clause, ordinance number 990.
Motion to approve agenda item 6B.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 6B.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton.
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 6C, discussion and possible action on planning commission recommendation for approval of preliminary plat of Town Center Plaza for the city of Newcastle, Newcastle Public Works Authority Commercial Plan Unit Development, PUD.
So the preliminary plat for Town Center Plaza, PUD, creates 6 lots that range from 16,490 square feet up to 51,319 square feet. These will all be, all the lot zoning will be underneath the PUD that we just discussed and we approved. The preliminary drainage plan has been submitted and meets our preliminary requirements. The detention facilities will be located outside the floodplain, but on the northern end of the lot or of the development. As you can see, the detention area will be maintained in this common area, which will be maintained by the property owners association that will be created after we get through the final plat stage. Sanitary sewer, there's an existing sanitary sewer that runs on the east side of the development. We will run that down in this in the easement, so all lots can have access to sanitary sewer on the north side and across the frontage of Main Street. The existing water is a 12-inch across the frontage on Main Street and an 8-inch going up Southeast 3rd Street. We're going to extend that water line an 8-inch across the east portion of the property. This way all lots will have access to both sewer and water. As we stated, the 2 access drives were preliminary as what ODOT would allow, and then 1 access on Southeast 3rd Street. The floodplain will not be disturbed and not be developed in on the north side of this site. Planning staff does make recommendation of approval of this final plat, and Planning Commission recommended approval as well with a vote of 5-0. Sean is here to give another presentation on the preliminary plat, but I'm happy to answer any questions. We can let him present and go forward.
Council again, thank you for the opportunity to present. Should be much more brief, I believe. Probably even touch on some things that kind of came up in question that we can kind of dive into specifically with this visual. So I think Ms. Greenlee kind of touched on everything in terms of what you see on the plat in terms of utility main locations. We've had a working relationship with the city on trying to place those, what was going to be acceptable for moving forward. We've been able to locate those out from underneath as much pavement as possible for long-term maintenance of the city's benefit. As she mentioned, the stormwater detention. When we're doing that design, we kind of start with what we think may be needed. But the way the site worked out, the stormwater ponds that you see right now are actually fairly oversized for what we need. So the impact of that visual of what those look like will be less than even kind of what we see once we get to the final plat stage and have a good understanding of what the development looks like. There was a discussion earlier from the Planning Commission chairman about needing a small access easement from the Fox Hollow right away into their neighborhood from 3rd Street. There's just a small sliver, probably less than 100 square foot needed to access that. And why we need that, let me see if I've got a good picture. I don't really have it on that. So if you look at this circulation exhibit, really what we're trying to do, and I'll kind of walk over to this to kind of point it out a little bit better. There's some common areas in this existing plat that kind of look like triangles, and we're just shaving off a little piece of one for that access easement. And why we're kind of doing that is if we were to kind of push this road back up, it really hurts kind of what we've done from the master planning concept. There's a same kind of scenario in terms of where we are connecting in with our water supply. Right here, connecting into the existing water main where we're going to put a hydrant. Same thing, just outside of our property, inside the common area for the Fox Hollow, right away through here. So you'll see an easement eventually on your agenda. But other than that, that is pretty much everything from the plat. Just to follow up on a question from the council, that anchor tenant is shown as 22,000 square foot. So I do not believe, and just not to particularly put any names on basis of design.
Right. It's comparable.
The Walmart market is probably a little bigger than what we can accommodate.
Okay.
Small kind of regional.
So more Aldi size than Walmart market.
Very similar to what an Aldi looks like.
How much did you say it was?
22,000.
Exactly, yeah, average size of Aldi.
Yes. A little more information on the drainage design. The ponds there have about 30,000 cubic foot of capacity, and we're only anticipating using about 13 of that, I believe, so far. And with that, I will stand for any questions.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you very much.
Any public comment concerning this agenda item?
Make a motion to approve item 6.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 6C.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Nancy Wright, yes, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 6D, public hearing, discussion, and possible action on planning commission recommendation for approval of application for use permit and review for a mini warehouse, including outside fence storage area for boats and recreational vehicles for Storage RS, Carl Gibson, located in the final plat of Crystal Village in the northwest quarter of Section 8, Township 8 North, Range 3 West, Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma. Property address 3301 Southeast 44th Street, Newcastle, Oklahoma. Case number UPOR 2025-001.
Shay Greenlee with the Newcastle Planning Department. This request is for a UPOR for a mini warehouse and boat and RV storage, outside boat and RV storage. On the left-hand side, the surrounding land views, single-family dwellings to the north, Remington Place addition. To the east, there's commercial, State Highway 9, and then also commercial to the west. As you can see, the zoning map depicts the commercial zoning across that frontage of Southeast 44th Street. The current future land use designation is general commercial, so there's no land use amendment required for this. This UPOR, request for the boat and RV storage, has a couple elements to it. Became a UPOR in CC2 in 2022. So we would, council approve that to go to the UPOR instead of just allowing many warehouses as a permitted use that could potentially take up more of our commercial areas. But being that there is already storage located here, made sense to allow them to expand. So that is what they're doing. They're wanting to expand controlled climate units as well as provide boat and RV storage in the back. Two things with this, that they're requesting variances to exceptions to the requirements, excuse me, is the paving. They would like to use pervious pavers for the boat and RV storage. Pervious paver system that will actually contain some of the detention. And they also are asking for variance to the 80% masonry requirement required on all exteriors in CC2. I can go through this is the diagram showing where they will have brick and ephes will be on anything that's exterior that can be seen from the street. Or the residential neighborhood to the north. So all the green is going to be brick and ephes. The red would be panel and overhead doors. This area here that is in this hatched area is where they're requesting the pervious paving system. It's not going to be in any place except this back area. So there won't be a lot of traffic and circulation in that, except just the parking of the boat and RVs. These are two open units right here, so there's only a wall here that will be the brick, and then wall here that's on the interior. Same thing with building 10. And then this is open, uncovered parking on the very east side of that development. So this is just a depiction of what the exteriors will look like, and is in your packet as well, to show you that the interiors, excuse me, will be the overhead doors, and then anything, like I said, that can't be seen from the street or neighborhood will have the metal and overdoor, the metal panel. So with the two variations to this for the off-street, or for the paving requirement and for the facade, staff does make recommendation and support UPOR 2025-001. I'm happy to answer any questions.
If someone were to ask me a question about the pervious pavers, I would have no idea what to tell them. Would you just remind me what that technology is and what?
The applicant is here. He can speak a little bit more to it. He has utilized this product in, I believe, 2 other of his storage facilities. Yeah. Has a little bit more knowledge. But basically, it's a pervious paving system that allows water. It's a gravel the grass can potentially grow through. It has several different layers of aggregate base, so it allows water to, instead of like creating runoff with asphalt or concrete, allows that runoff to be contained on that site.
That helps, and that sounds very familiar to something we looked at before on Highway 9, something special, a little bit different than hard pavement. All right, that's all I need to know. Thank you. Thanks for that.
I didn't have any of this, so my Google helped me.
I'm not normally too keen on varying our requirements. But, you know, what is proposed is anything that's viewable from the street will be the rock and the stucco. And it appears that, you know, there's one neighbor to the east, and then the same owner as the applicant that owns the land even further east than that. So there's limited, I think, impact on the neighboring property owners with that. There's no through street to the east, so I don't see that as being a big issue in this particular instance.
I feel like we did the same idea, and I've been sitting here trying to remember where we did it. It was the same idea about the outward facing versus the inward facing, and I can't remember what it was.
It was on 24th Street. London Plaza.
Yeah, so that is, it's pretty much the same, right?
Basically.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which consistency is good.
Yeah.
Are they gonna put fence around it?
Yes, there will be fence adjoining the to the north, and then as well to the east.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Is there any public comment concerning this agenda item? No comments or questions from council or entertain a motion?
Make a motion for agenda item 6D. Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 6D.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, yes, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 6E, discussion of possible action on planning commission recommendation for approval of final plat of Storage RF LLC replat of Crystal Village Edition.
So this is a companion item to the UPOR. Crystal Village Edition had 6 lots on it, and to get the buildings on that lot that they needed, they had to do a final plat for Storage RS to remove those lot lines, so they could have more flexibility to place their buildings without setbacks on those property lines within that plat. So that's the main reason for the final plat. It's 1 lot, 1 block. Base zoning is CC2. Will be with the special use for the mini warehouse and boat and RV storage. It will property will utilize the existing detention pond in the southeast corner of the property with the pervious pavers. The historic runoff will not be exceeded. There's on-site sanitary that will be utilized. They're only adding additional storage units, not an office, so they're not going to increase the capacity there or the need to increase the capacity. With this final plat, they'll utilize the existing 8-inch water line on Southeast 44th, so there is that variance component to this to not upgrade to the 12-inch requirement for a water line as required by our subdivision regulations. They will maintain the 2 access points on Southeast 44th, and Planning Commission made recommendation for approval of this final plat with a vote of 5-0, and staff recommends approval of the final plat for Storage RS. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the owner applicant, Mr. Gibson, is here as well for any additional questions.
So he's going to utilize the 8-inch line, but there's also a 16-inch line running along there as well. So there's more than adequate water service to the area. Public comment concerning this agenda item? Anything motion?
Make a motion to approve agenda item 6D.
A second.
Motion second for approval of item number 6E.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, yes, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 7, discussion and possible action on approval of scope and fee proposal from FSB Engineering for additional planning services and additional engineering design services for improvements to the proposed Town Center Plaza to be constructed on NPWA property located at the southeast corner of the intersection of Fox Lane and South Main Street.
We would like to continue moving forward with FSB since they are the ones doing the design and PUD and everything else on this site. We would like them to engineer water, sewer, driveway entrances, drainage and detention, which I believe was already included in that first engineering contract. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So anyway, just to keep this all in one package with FSB and keep this thing moving forward, probably a little bit quicker than what we would if we went to use a different engineer at this point. And I believe their proposal comes in at just a little over $59,000.
59,450.
Yes.
There's the numbers, girl.
I'll move to approve. I'll second.
Motion to approve item number 7 for 59,450.
Mike Thornton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Stephen,
Yes.
Archie White, yes.
Just real quick too, on all of this, on the roads, the driveways, water and sewer, we plan to have our crews
I was wondering about
take care of the bulk of this. Now there'll be some curb and storm drainage and things of that nature that need to be done that our crews cannot do. But the majority of this will be able to be done by our crews in-house.
Item number 8, discussion and possible action on appointments to the Newcastle Planning Commission. 8A, reappointment of Gordon Harmon for a 3-year term from March 2025 to expire March 2028. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion second for reappointment of Gordon Harmon.
Mike Sullivan,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Stephen,
Yes.
Archie White,
Yes.
Carl.
Yes. Item 8B, reappointment of Jared Bennett for a 3-year term from March 2024 to expire March 2027. I would like to make a motion to not reappoint Jared Bennett. We have significant interest in individuals wanting to be a part of our planning commission, so I think this is a good opportunity to get a little fresh blood on the planning commission.
Second.
Motion second to not reappoint Jared Bennett for a 3-year term.
Is there a reason, I mean, I don't understand why, if it's, we have a commission that's working, why they would dump somebody off.
There have been several reasons that have, Mr. Bennett is coaches the baseball team and has had a significant number of vacancies, not vacancies, but instances where he's been able to come to planning commission meetings. Left the planning commission without a full commission.
Well, I looked at that, and he's, in the last 12, 13 months, he's only been on twice.
Well, that is quite a bit.
I mean, I think we've all been on once or twice a year, even on council. Or what, I mean, I just don't think that's unreasonable.
There have also been comments both on social media and from the planning commission that we're not in the light most favorable to the city of Newcastle.
I haven't seen any of that, but, I don't know. I've just never had feedback that, with anything with the planning commission, even if they don't agree with something that they vote on, always, they've always been respectful and not, I've never heard anything ever bad back on anybody, so I hate to do that. Just from my perspective, when I've never heard a bit of bad feedback ever on anybody. So that's my take on the vote, but.
Just out of curiosity, do we have a policy on our absence? I think someone missing too many meetings.
I believe we do. I'm positive it is with city council.
Yeah, if I'm correct, I believe it is 2 or 3 consecutive meetings in this, or more than 3 or 4 during the year. There's ordinance on it, but I'll have to go back.
And then that's one of the questions. But if he does be reappointed, you know, there's a bite for missing, even for us. Often, you know, I'm kind of in agreement with Marcy. I feel like he's, the last few months, you know, last year, he's only missed 2, my understanding, from what the records show, each month.
Well, it's not, it's, the primary reason is not that. The primary reason is comments that have been made both while the planning commission meeting was happening and on social media that aren't a good representation of the city of Newcastle.
I guess I haven't seen those comments.
If you've been listening to the last planning commission meeting, you would have heard one of them.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, he's a fine individual, and I certainly wouldn't put my weight on missing a meeting or two. All of our commissioners are professionals and doing their jobs and everything like that, so that's not a concern. But sometimes you get a feel there's a real good fit. I think he's done a good job. I really recommended him. I believe there's others. There's opportunity for some others to serve who will be also effective. So it's not a major judgment, but it is probably a need to. I mean, I can see some benefit of making a change.
any other comments? Do we have a motion second? I have a motion second to not reappoint Jared Bennett for a 3-year term.
Mike Fullerton,
No.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, no, Carl Ray.
Yes. Item number 8C, reappointment of Will Wright for a 3-year term from March 2025 to expire on March 2028. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion second for reappointment of Will Wright.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Ray.
Yes. Item 9, discussion and possible action on appointment to the Newcastle Economic Development Authority. Item number 9A, reappointment of Cheryl Willard for a 5-year term for February 2025 to expire February 2030. I would like to make the motion to not reappoint Cheryl Willard for a 5-year term.
What was her absences?
I don't know if it was absence. This is based upon a recommendation from city staff, based on her
Once again, comments, public comments, and also behaviors in the NEDA meeting. And we have a city staff member that attends those on a regular basis.
I have a general thought, and I thought of this today, and it's absolutely not towards any one individual, but these are citizen positions picked by citizens, so I don't, maybe it's a rule, and I could be wrong, but why are, and I really don't mean to offend anybody, but why is staff making a recommendation when these are citizen positions that citizens who are voted in should recommend for citizens? Like, I just feel like that doesn't fit in my mind, maybe, for that to be part of the process.
Typically, staff has the most interaction with these commissions and boards, and they rely heavily upon the members of those commissions and boards. And I don't know that I've ever been to an Economic Development Authority meeting. Not very many people have. So we do have to rely on staff for their feedback on who they think is doing a beneficial job for the city of Newcastle on those boards and commissions. In this instance, staff is asked that we appoint somebody in the place of Ms. Willard.
And all of these have been appointed by council.
They have. They serve at the pleasure of council.
Right, I'm not implying that, but I'm just saying that if I'm looking at it as an outsider not sitting on council, it might bother me maybe that I feel like staff is help choosing who they want to, because that's the whole framework is set up for it to be where we have citizens who are in these positions, so that it doesn't look like the staff, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not accusing them of anything whatsoever at all. Like, I literally have never heard anything bad, one way or another, about anybody or anything. I just feel like that it presents better.
I think it is job of staff, though, to look out for the best interest of the city of Newcastle, regardless of what board, employee, whatever it may be, that is bringing a negative impact or a negative look to the city of Newcastle. And I understand what you're saying as well, Marcy, but we also, staff also solicits these people for council to be appointed.
I think, and what the reason I don't want to be taken wrong is because that's not what Newcastle has, but that's what happens in a lot of political places. And so that's why I'm thinking, like, even though we don't have that, we always want to maintain the appearance so we don't ever get accused of something like that. That's why I'm thinking that. I've never had a problem with anybody on any of this stuff here,
right.
So I certainly don't want to imply that, because I absolutely do not.
Right. No, I just certainly want to maintain the appearance too that the people that are getting appointed and are on these boards and committees, when they do get on there, and the majority, there's no issues at all. But when they do get on there, that they consistently represent the city of Newcastle in a 100% positive light. I look at that from all employees that we hire.
Sure.
That's the main goal there. If there's a negative comment or bad mouthing the city or whatever it may be, I've had these conversations with employees. I don't appreciate it. I mean, they're solicited to serve on these boards, these committees. It's we appreciate their service. It's also a privilege, in my mind, to serve for the city and to give their input. Their input is needed, but it's frustrating for anybody to get on a board or a committee and they come to that and they give their vote and stand up for it, and then go to social media or go out in public and they're completely opposite. And they're derogatory comments about the city or about the board or whatever it may be that they just came from a meeting with. It's a little irritating.
I hear you.
And this doesn't happen often.
No, it does not.
We have very few turnovers, on our committees, other than people that just choose to move on. All of our people in our city have a voice.
Sure.
They have a voice to criticize, to question, to challenge. But some behaviors move things forward, and some create, confusion and uncertainty and doubt. So you really do need people to be in harmony, even if they are in a disagreement. Because we have people on our boards who challenge and push back on some things.
Sure. And that's the place for it, in the meeting. Absolutely. That's the place for citizens to come and do it as well. I agree with that 100%.
Motion, we have a second?
Well, you have a second. Yeah, I'll second.
Not really.
The motion second to not reappoint Cheryl Willie.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Jean Reed?
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton?
Yes.
Marcy White?
I don't know. Can I abstain from this one? If you don't mind.
Carl Nell?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's put it. That's good. Whatever. I don't know enough to have an opinion on that, so I'd rather.
Item number 10, discussion of possible action on appointment to the cemetery board. Item 10A, appointment of Artie Puckett to fill the unexpired term of Debbie Chappell to expire September 2026. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Ms. Chapel did resign from the cemetery board. Why the reason for this appointment?
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White,
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 11, discussion of possible action on abatement by the city for nuisance created by tall grass and weeds at 375 Wright Street for the Elmore owner.
Janae Greenwood with the Newcastle Planning Department. This item comes before you because we have made numerous attempts. In your packet, there's a brief memo and then also our code enforcement timeline on when the certified first notification, a 10-day courtesy notice posting to clean up your tall grass, debris. There's several down trees. It's right behind Scooters. So it's the property right behind Scooters, fronting on Wright Street. It is commercially zoned. The owner of the property, we have sent 2 certified return letters and they've both gotten returned. I've tried to call him. Other staff members have tried to make contact, call him, left him lengthy voicemails to contact us. Nothing has been done. So we bring this before council for abatement.
Looks like we've been almost a year on this.
Yes,
So abatement meaning go ahead and clean it up and.
yes, yeah, that is exactly right. Mhm.
So the city would clean it up and then we would file a lien against the property, is that correct?
That is correct.
Any public comment concerning this agenda item?
Motion to approve item number 11.
Second,
Motion second for approval of item number 11.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White,
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes.
Both of these items. Okay.
Item number 12, discussion of possible action on adoption of resolution number 2025-03 regarding the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority OTA Turnpike Extension Project. That is not ready to be addressed this evening, so no action on that agenda item. Item 13, discussion of possible action on approval of billboard agreement for the City of Newcastle Sports Complex. Same thing, not ready for discussion this evening. Item number 14, city manager comments.
Just one thing to speak on in this, or in these comments. We're looking at the high school. The high school has a tennis team. Not real sure how big their tennis team is, how many students they have participating in that sport. But they have nowhere to practice. They have nowhere to play matches. Right now, it's my understanding that they either go to Backyou up on line 44 or they go to Early Line just to practice. Myself, Jeanette, Parks Director, have been talking about pickleball courts, tennis courts at Veterans Park now for
Over a year.
yeah, for quite some time. It does get pretty expensive. But what we have been discussing here within the last week or two is why could we not participate with the school potentially to construct a tennis court or two along with a pickleball court, maybe 2. I mean, it's pretty expensive, so we'll just have to, we're still getting pricing and things. But why could we not do that? And then once the tennis court or courts was constructed, designate specific times, whatever the coaching staff may need to, for practice times. It would be, the tennis courts would be closed to the public, be used for the team.
Mm-hmm.
And also, why, and this is something that I would need to discuss with you a little further, why could we not designate that as a youth program, since it is in conjunction with the school, and pay for that out of 30% funding, tax money? That's something that we started discussing last week, 30% funding and why that could not be considered youth funding, as it does not say in the ordinance that it has to be for Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever. It just says youth, for youth.
So you come at 30%, but doesn't that also include senior?
It does.
So,
And we give the senior.
And so I'm saying it's a double positive on that because, especially the pickleball, you can see some.
Right.
Are you saying only seniors will utilize the pickleball court?
I'm thinking the seniors will not be on the tennis court.
And based on our master park plan, the area between the splash pad, basically moving north all the way to the pond, is designated for tennis, for other, what does it say on here exactly?
Other recreation.
Family recreation, and it's kind of got some tennis courts or basketball courts thrown in there, so
Well, that would add
plan.
class to our park, and what a golden opportunity to continue to support our school. It'd be a great benefit for them. I don't think it's a large program, but Newcastle Schools athletic programs are flourishing and growing and expanding. And I know some of our e-ball players have entered into a tennis competition. So, excuse me for digressing, but you said where they're going to practice. They're trying to practice at Lions Park.
Yes, that's correct. And I saw your email on that. We have went over there and cleaned up before.
Yeah.
And I mean, all that stuff we've sprayed.
Yeah.
We've pulled stickers out. It's just not a good location. It's bad. I would like to see something, hopefully, now I may be way off track on this, but if that works out to where we can do that, I'd like to see something built out there as far as, even if it's just one tennis court right away by the time school starts. Yeah, well, their tennis is in the spring, is it not? Usually that's when that occurs.
It's happening now, so it's
okay.
Late winter or early spring.
So we would have about a year to get something ready for them, or 9 months or so, if this all goes through. But like I said, we're still getting pricing right now from different companies, what that may look like. But if nothing else, I think we try to do maybe one tennis court and one pickleball court and expand it later on. I mean,
No, I think that'd be great. How much, how much is it?
Don't know it. Need to know it.
We'll let you know when the bill comes in.
Is that concrete?
You may have a comment.
Could I say something?
Sure.
I didn't come here to speak on this, but I'm a pickleball player. My name is Cherie Metnall, and I live on Highway 76. So I love the idea of expanding wherever. I called the recreation, Parks and Recreation guy the other day, and we've been playing in Lions Park on nice days. And we'll play more now that the weather's getting well. So I just asked him to repaint it. And you don't need a separate tennis court and a separate pickleball. You play on the same space. They just draw the lines to, be the right size. It would be really good to make at least 2 or 3 courts. I play over at the Senior Center in Moore, and they have 3 set up. And that way you can get 4 people on each court, and it works real well. But if you would build them at the school, that would be perfect. And make it big enough for tennis, and then they draw the lines in for the pickleball.
well, and we did look into that. One company that spoke to our parks director about that. He gives some sort of reason as to why you don't want to combine them. Maybe because they want to sell 2 courts.
Yeah, really.
But
maybe the height of the net.
Yes, the net's one thing.
And you could make those nets movable.
Yeah. The only other thing about that is, though, if we have separate tennis and separate pickleball, we've got the school out there that can do their thing. but we still have a location where residents such as yourself can come on out and play on the pickleball court. So, I mean, that would be the only thing of separating them.
And part of this, if we utilize the 30% funding that's designated funds, we would have to allow the school to have priority on those facilities for a certain period of time and for tournaments. And by having these separate pickleball courts, we would still have that available for others in the community to utilize. While the school would have dedicated time.
Well, thank you for thinking.
Thank you.
of it. And having paint the lines on Lions Park.
And Kevin, I know it's a given, I didn't know you do this anyway, but obviously just, whatever we do, let's engage someone from the school to make sure that we, do it.
Well, and what I would want to do, after speaking with the attorney about this, make sure it's okay, is to get with the school and have them give us a letter as requesting the partnership or whatever that may be.
Okay.
That, in my mind, would trigger the use of that 30% half% tax money.
And I'd appreciate it if there's anything we can do at all over at Lions, just keeping lawns mowed really well is one step toward maintaining, particular population. I doubt there's anything we could do now to change whatever's there now, but let's do whatever we can to let them practice there. And if we can paint it, I mean, I don't know how costly that would be, but keep it mowed, spray it a time or two, and then long term, maybe within next season, have a court for them.
Yep.
That's a great idea.
That's all.
All right.
How many courts are we, I said man, but for a tournament, how many courts do we think?
Well, I mean, I think the most, I don't know, I have no idea as far as tennis, but.
School will tell us, they'll say, hey, if you do at least two, or hey, if you get one, then at least practice on it.
Right.
Do we need bleachers and do we need?
Maybe if that's the case, maybe they would want to donate.
Yeah.
Maybe they would want a couple bleachers.
Yeah.
I mean, we would be taking care of lighting and courts and nets and the whole nine.
The course I see usually don't draw a crowd.
No.
People sitting around in their chairs.
I remember, we had it more as a kid, but I don't think we had bleachers.
We didn't where I grew up. We just brought the chairs and said.
What you usually see in school and city environments are the tall fences that keep them all on the court. When I play, it's always on the court anyway. So.
Right.
Believe it or not, I can hit over
that.
Because it only goes 2 feet?
Yeah. Oh, did she just say that?
Swing and miss.
Go, Kimberly.
Item number 15, any council member comments?
I think Kimberly just finished that off.
Yes, I'd like to talk about, I guess the new oil well is going in and out here. It's been active off of, it should be Council Road North, off of 76.
One of the circles backing around almost comes to the water plant?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The road's kind of taking a beating from the oil patch right now. I know that we got to get on the agenda for the grant money from the state, but I'd also like to see us at least do some patching when we can, when the weather's permitting, so that somebody doesn't lose the front tire off the road.
40th?
No, it's
County line?
County line. Not county.
North of 37.
It's council.
Oh, council?
North of, going north
Yeah, I
of
think that's the
37.
one that's.
Yeah. Council's having issues?
Yeah, council is
They just got
76. They don't get from there. They come that well off of county line.
No, I don't think so.
I'll speak to it.
Okay.
Well, I think they come down 76.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's this one. Here's the road coming into it.
Are you thinking of the Debbie Downey property?
Oh, I was talking about the one that circle back around by the water plant, is it?
Yeah, I don't think they come in off the county line.
They don't come in off that one. To get to that one, they go down county line 2.5 miles, and they go across 10 miles for.
Okay.
Yeah, they go back there.
Yeah, back in there. One that I think I was talking about is Council Road, just where it starts to go off when you get past Briarwood.
Okay, yep.
And they use that old oil well site there back to the west.
back to this one here.
Yeah, they're just tearing the thunder out of that right there.
Right, yeah.
Huh.
That one right there. I forgot all about that well.
Yeah, that was when we passed, I said, man, we just got this fixed.
Yeah. The council going up just north of that addition, I can't remember the name of the addition. Where they enter off that, yeah.
Deanna Ridge.
Deanna Ridge, yeah.
Is that
No, I didn't even know
We
that.
didn't go that far north. No, it's back before then. You turn back to the west, right past, across from Briarwood, there's a little pocket addition there on the west side of council.
That's Deanna Ridge.
Right past that, they go back, I thought it's the end.
Just on the north side of Creekview,
Yeah.
I had
Back
or Twin
west.
Creek too.
Yeah, Twin Creek.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned
Okay.
it to me a couple weeks ago as well, concerns about it.
And that's, well, we'll find out the old company will make contact with them.
And so we can, look at putting probably both county line because it's getting beat up too, and this portion of, council on our application for funds from the state to redo those whenever, hopefully they get done, but yeah, we do need that.
Just patch it while it's
Yeah.
going on.
Definitely.
We just received the grants for this go around, so it'll be a year before, is it a year, is that correct?
Yes, before the next round will open up.
These will be two great candidates for that.
Right for the right purpose of what they were voted for.
I did have one comment that, a couple of people have brought it up. It appears like maybe the homeless encampment, North Highway 37 is back.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we do have to have the landowner file trespass to allow us to remove those individuals, so.
And the landowner is perfectly fine with allowing them to stay there at this point.
Okay.
That's what he's told us.
Behind the gas station?
Mhm.
Okay.
So does that meet, is that allowed in our zoning for them to do that?
Well, it's on private property.
Commercial zone, don't worry.
No, one of the issues that we are exploring though is they've been building a fire back there to stay warm.
And trash.
And trash. But we did make contact already with the property owner, and they said, no, we don't have a problem with
Well,
that.
if the next step is, if it inflicts anything on anyone else, and if it doesn't, it doesn't, I guess, so.
We're dealing with it because it is.
Okay.
Well, I was
It's,
gonna say, there's a bank, right, the bank drive-through is right there, like I bank there. The bank drive-through is right there, so if I'm pulling up the bank, it's right there.
yeah.
I mean, feet away. You see the whole thing, I don't know. It's interesting, he's selling that property for sale. You would think he would not want that on there, so he sell something. But
I don't know what, last year, we dealt with this and they were eager to say, yes, come and do something about it. For whatever reason, this year, it's different.
Let me ask this, is it's zoned commercial, is that correct? So the zoning's already there, but it's not agriculture, so therefore the grass and underbrush needs to be taken care of.
Yeah, potentially.
I think it's.
It's not residential either.
We would have to look into that, dig into it a little deeper, what the code says on that. I mean, there's nothing on the
I mean, there's
property.
temporary structures there.
I wouldn't call them structures.
I use that very.
There's a couple of gently used sheets hanging out there.
Yeah, there is a frame, there is wood frames out there from different.
From last year.
Yeah.
I heard there was a saw out there last year, electric saw. Man, cutting the wood and killed it.
Where are they getting the power?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, but I really did hear that from people that were right by there.
Anybody operated.
Could be. I don't know.
We're still looking into it. We're trying to figure out something.
That anything to do there, that would be great. All right.
I noticed that the one behind Love's is gone. They haven't come back yet.
Yeah. Sounds good.
There's jigsaw stick there.
Any other council member comments? All right, item number 16A, discussion of possible action on entering into an executive session as permitted under 25 OS, section 307B1, discussing the employment, hiring, appointment, promotion, demotion, discipline, or resignation of any individual, salary, public officer, or employee, city treasurer's annual evaluation. Item 16B, discussion of possible action on entering into executive session as permitted under 25 OS section 307B1, discussing the employment, hiring, appointment, promotion, demotion, discipline, or resignation of any individual, salary, public officer, or employee, city manager's annual evaluation, and contract renewal. This time I'll make a motion to enter into an executive session with our city attorney, our assistant city manager, when called, and our city treasurer when called. Motion second to enter into executive session.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes.
We will take a,
I was gonna say typically, she doesn't say it
Oh.
like
Not me.
not her then. We will take a 5-minute break.